Rotary is a place that I get reminded at least weekly that there is good in the world and we can unite for something better and something positive. And I think that's really important.
We're live. Welcome to Membership Unplugged. I'm Todd Shepard. I'm here with my wild host, Patrick Longano, and tonight we have a couple of special guests here from the famed podcast, The Session with David and Londa. We got David Austin and Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome to Membership Unplugged.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, hello, hello.
Well, we're excited to have you guys here tonight. David and Londa, you guys are fairly new to Rotary, and we thought it would be kind of fun to have a little conversation with you guys and get to know you a bit and find a little bit about your experiences as newer Rotarians. How long have you guys been in Rotary?
I don't know, a couple months.
6 months maybe for me.
Okay, so 6 months. And Patrick Longano, you've been in Rotary a little bit longer than that.
Yeah, you can tell by the gray hair.
How long have you been in Rotary? How long
Is that all it takes?
That's all it takes, Londa. I promise you.
Been
Well,
a long,
let's
hard
get into
27
it.
years.
You guys are enjoying your Rotary experience, your Rotary journey so far?
Oh, sure. Yeah, loving it. How about you, hon?
I really like it. I like the camaraderie, and I like having some place to go that's I know is going to be a positive impact on me, that then in turn makes a positive impact to my community.
Nice.
Londa, I'm glad you answered that, because when David said, "What about you, hon?" I was about to answer. I'm just saying that's what kind of membercast we're on.
So you guys
Awesome.
have a podcast called The Session. Before we get into talking too much about Rotary and such, let us get a little peek into what you do yourselves. You sit and talk about just basically anything from what I can see. Is that right?
Well, we're a business-focused podcast, and we lean into real estate and mortgage heavily because we've both been real estate and mortgage professionals for years and years and years and years. When the podcast started, it was the three things we care about the most, and that's real estate, restaurants, and retail. And we still talk about those things as they merge with the broader economy.
Great. So
What were the three R's?
What's
What's
that?
that?
What were the
The
three
three
R's?
R's: restaurant, real estate, and retail.
I love it. Now you get to add a fourth.
Rotary.
There we go.
Hey!
Yeah, we'll get you talking
Perfect.
about that on The
Perfect.
Session. So, and when do you guys do The Session? You can do it live, or is it a recorded podcast?
We record it weekly. We drop it every Wednesday, and we've been doing it for about 3 years.
Great. And where can you catch this?
You can find it anywhere you can find a podcast, and you can find it on YouTube.
Wonderful.
David,
Yeah, you guys are available on Apple Podcasts too.
We
Yes.
are, yeah.
And
David, say the name of the podcast again.
The Session with Londa and David.
You guys used to be the Austins on the Air.
We were Austin's on the air.
Austin's
Someone
on
did
the
the
air.
homework.
I do my homework.
That's awesome. Yeah, when we lived in Louisiana during COVID or just post-COVID,
Yeah.
we started a morning radio show. And we did that
Wow.
for 1 year and then came back home to Washington State.
How did that affect you in COVID when you were doing that? I mean, did you see a lot more people engaged during that time?
Okay, Patrick. For
Okay.
COVID was the best thing ever for us because we were newlyweds. The whole world shut down and we had to stay home alone together.
I had a federal mandate to hang out with the prettiest girl I ever met. What a good
There
deal.
you go. There you go. I love that.
But we
Boy,
did
he's
see
racking up points.
we did
He
see
is. I need
right?
to close my door just in case my wife is eavesdropping. Thanks, David.
I know we each are married to an Angie, and our Angies are neither one of them are watching the podcast, and we're going to make sure they don't. so that we don't
Yeah,
look bad.
yeah.
Okay, David?
But I think it's safe to say that we took that station, its morning programming, from a zero to a hero during that time. And I do think part of it was the timing, because it
Mhm.
was, people were hungry for connection. And that is something that we brought to that area that was missing, a really personal connection with people and with the community and with each other. So it was a fun year for us there.
That's right.
That connection. Well, I'm gonna pivot on that one then. For many of us, life is just a juggle, like with kids or careers or COVID or chaos of some sort. So, what was happening in your life, that made you say, "Hey, I want to have. I think it's time for Rotary. I want to have Rotary. Add that to my plate."
That's a great question.
I'm
And what
asking
I can
Londa.
say for me, and I think we both have different answers, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, uh, service and kindness are my core tenets, right? I think it's our job in life to be kind,
Mhm.
because there's never a time where that's inappropriate. Never. So that for me has been a big deal my whole life. And I have a buddy that I play in a church band with. Kyle is his name. And he said to me, "Hey, David, I think you'd really get a kick out of my Rotary group." And I said, "Well, tell me a little bit about Rotary." And he let me know that it was a service organization that cares most about being ethical and treating people nicely. And I got to tell you, that is very appealing to me as a business person, as a father, as a husband. That is awesome. So it was an easy sell for me when I came to the very first meeting. Hun, what's your experience?
Well, David invited me then to come to Rotary. He said, "I think you might like this. I want you to check it out and see what you think." And I visited a few times, and for me, if I'm just being really, really open and authentic and honest with you, it was all the things that I liked about church, but without the church part. So it's connection and fellowship and service and I don't know, a common good, but without, you know, religion coming into play. So it felt more inclusive to me and more open. Uh, and and I really liked it. And the I don't know, it felt a little like a place to to call home, you know.
No, Londa, I hear that a lot because Rotary is um, non-religious. It's um, political.
Right.
Even though some of those things kind of creep in with some of our members there, but that's one of the biggest draws that I hear. It's a place for people to go, and the only expectation is, and I really like what David said, service and kindness. You know what I mean? You can dish out both in Rotary. You can dish out kindness and you can dish out service. And if you go there with the right attitude, you can achieve those and do it with a lot of people as well. So I agree with both of you. But Londa, you would not believe how much I hear that when I'm out and about and doing recruiting and stuff.
I think with all of the there are a million ways in the world today that we can see our differences, you know? And I
Yeah.
think that Rotary is a place that I get reminded at least weekly that there is good in the world and we can unite for something better and something positive. And I think that's really important.
That's an excellent viewpoint. It really is. We get, Todd will tell you, we get reminded daily of our differences. You guys see it all the time on your podcast and when you did your radio show and just out there in the world, we see our differences all over the
Yeah.
place. Rotary is a haven for us to go, and a place for us to go where we can see how really close we are to each other and that the
Hmm.
differences that we might have in some things they evaporate that way when we're doing a service project, whether it's a tutoring program or a cleanup project or anything like this. Um, we're out there just for that common cause. Great observation. I really
It's a
I
reminder
agree
that we're
with you.
so much more similar than we are different.
Yep. Yep.
That's a good point. And that service and such is a good part of it. Service above self. What about going beyond that? What's a selfish benefit, if you could? A selfish benefit that you've discovered in Rotary. It's like, oh, this is, like maybe found a new best friend or a business lead or something like that.
I can tell you this for me, Rotary is a lot like a small group in church, right? You sit with your table on a Thursday during the lunch meeting, and you're hanging out with a bunch of people who are coming from different walks of life, who may be farther ahead in life and or business than you are, but you get to fellowship and hang out with those people. So for me, it was like being in my church small group with the men that I was in that group with as mentors. You know what I mean? I kind of look at you that way, Todd. We talk about membership and we talk about Rotary and the way the clubs are meant to work together. And it feels very familial and comfortable. And I
Yeah.
love that about it. Love it. That's a selfish benefit.
Hey, Dave, let me ask you a question. You brought up that, that we people come from all walks of life. Being new to Rotary, do you see the diversity there that you would like to see, or do you think it's a continued um, path that we need to keep plugging to bring more people in that will give us different points of view, different opportunities. And to give you example of that is we have a lot of time in service projects. We get rutted in to the same old projects. And I find that the more people we bring in with diverse backgrounds and such, it exposes our club to more opportunities to grow. Do you, as new members, do you see um, the diversity that you want, or do you see a good base and that we still need some work to do there, but it's a challenge that's worth undertaking?
That's a great question. And the answer is this. I've visited a few Rotary clubs now since I've been in this Rotary club. And there's a lot of gray hair in the clubs. And I
Mhm.
see that as an opportunity for new, younger growth as well. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? When I walk into the room and I'm the youngest guy in there, that's exciting because I can bring more people, more young people with me. And I'm not young. I'm not young at all. But most service organizations that I've been a part of, Kiwanis and Rotary, they are kind of an older generation, right?
yeah,
So I walk into the room and see a bunch of those guys, and I know I have a lot to learn and a lot to bring. So I see
that's
opportunity.
yeah, that's a good point. From what my experience when I'm out recruiting people, um, to come. It's usually the people that are out there already doing the work. If we're searching for good service minded, high integrity people to join a Rotary Club, they're generally out there um, doing it in the community anyway. And we're looking for reasons to bring people on, so we can find out more about our community and maybe what our community needs. But I found when you focus on service, that I always say service is what unites us. You know what I mean? That really puts it together because if you asked 100 people, do you think it's your duty and the price you pay for living in the community to give back to that community through service? I mean, 99.9% of the people are going to say yes. And then that opens the door for you to tell them about Rotary and also ask them what they're doing and see if they can bring that passion with them to your club. So I always focus on the service aspect of it to do that. And it brings in all ages, all races, all genders to to the club if you focus on that. So, and you're definitely not the youngest person in the club because that would go to probably Londa there. So, and when you said when
No.
I walk in, I see a little bit of gray hair. I mean, I had to kind of hide mine there. And Lord knows, Mr. What's it called? Just for Men up there, Todd, he'd be
Yeah,
pounding out
right.
them grays too.
Nice.
So
I think uh, if you genuinely like people,
Mhm.
Rotary is the place for you. And if you genuinely don't like people, I don't know where your place is. I don't know
Mm.
where it is.
Mm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
the Lions clubs.
Everybody,
I'm sorry.
my
uh,
philosophy about membership to a club
Yeah.
is pretty simple. I want to evangelize the club and let every single person I know about it.
Hmm.
Every single person I know won't fall in love, but the people who do, I want to bring with me.
so when you're talking to people and your friends and you tell them about your Rotary Club and your experience, do you pre-qualify them a little bit and say, I'm not going to talk to this person because they probably won't be a member, or do you just let everybody know and let them figure it out?
Uh,
Londa's got an answer.
let me ask a question, Todd. What does a Rotarian look like?
That's a good question.
Real
A
good question.
person.
Like
A
all of us.
Rotarian looks like a person. So I tell all the people about Rotary.
And why not?
Right. I'm not walking up to livestock and telling them about Rotary. They're not people, but I'm telling people for sure.
That's a good point, and that's excellent if you're doing that, and that's some good tips. So on that same token, when we're talking about tips, onboarding is an important part, and you guys had an experience like anybody that joins a club that's unique to yours, but unique to your club. And when you join a new club, maybe it's kind of I find it kind of like being a new kid in school. You come in and so what would you think that a club can do for the first 30 days that you would suggest based on your experience that you would either change or you liked about your onboarding process or something that you think a club can do to make people feel more welcome, make them feel like, hey, I'm part of this right away.
Every onboarding process can be improved. That's just a fact. I don't care if it's this one or a different one. But there were a couple of things that, were made it a little more challenging. But the truth of the matter is if somebody wants to be a part of something, they'll figure it out. Right?
That's true.
Like I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't know where this website is, but I'm not dumb. I found it like because I wanted to be a part of it. So I know we often talk about making the process as easy as possible, and I do think that's important. At the same time, though, when somebody's got a real desire to be a part of something, the proof's in the pudding. They'll figure it out. I think the one thing that I would like to have seen and would still like to see is somebody who knows me making sure I'm getting introduced or somebody I've met making sure I'm getting introduced to lots of different people each week. Like, let
Okay.
me, David mentioned you sit at the table with the same people. I'm not that person. I want to sit at a different table every week. I want to meet everybody in the room so
Yeah.
that when I walk into the room, I know a lot of the people. So I think that's something that would be an easy thing to do if somebody's on the membership committee. Just think about that new person and make sure you're introducing them to one or two people. Hey, I want to make sure you know this person. Maybe they've met them, but I want to make sure and introduce you to this person. Have you met that person? That kind of thing. Just I think it's the awareness of it and making sure that we don't get too I guess routine in the I walk in and I do this and I get that and I sit down here and then you know what I mean? And part of the key to that, I believe, is the diversity because there's nothing more inspiring than diversity of thought. And the only way that you get diversity of thought is getting a bunch of different people in the room with
Right.
from all different backgrounds, from all different, experiences in life and getting them talking with one another.
That's an excellent point. Patrick brings up once in a while, he talks about the back table. Tell us about the back table because you've seen it. I've seen it, Patrick.
Yeah. And I'm not saying anything new here. Generally speaking, when I walk into Rotary Club and I'm talking, one of the first things I say, "Where's the back table?" And they know who they are, and they're proud of it, and they'll raise their hand. It's the group that maybe been there together for 20 years. They all sit at that same table. I made the mistake one time of sitting down at an empty seat at the back table, and they're like, "Oh no, that's
I did
Fred's."
it too.
Yeah, and it happens, and it doesn't. I laugh about it because we talk about club culture. A couple of weeks ago, we had Stephanie Urchek, the immediate past president of Rotary International, and just a champion for club culture. I mean, the reason why we're changing in Rotary is because she banged that drum for an entire year. Club culture will get us where we want to be. And I smile because, it's tough to change club culture. I joked with Todd. I said, the only way you can change club culture immediately is to pick up that back table and put it out in the parking lot, and then we're golden. But I think the more that we engage with them instead of just saying, that's them, that's how they act. I think the more that we engage with them, the more people that we bring in and say to them, hey, this is legacy here. You guys have been in the club, and we're standing on the shoulders of giants, people who've been in this club for 30, 40 years and have done things that we could only dream about. And you've done your share, you've done that thing, but we're going to ask you to do one more thing. We're going to ask you to help mentor these people that we bring in. If we bring you good-hearted, kind, high integrity people, can you help us turn them in to Rotarians? So it's a legacy moment. And I've never done that or asked that and been turned down. And kind of the magic of seeing that after you have that conversation, um, they get all excited. A lot of these people, they start showing up at some more of the projects that they know some of the newer members are going to be at. And when we do a companion club, they'll show up there and walk around, introduce themselves. I've seen them tell their Rotary stories. I had a wonderful mentor. His name was Dick Mitchell, and in our club, he was a newspaper editor and a writer, and just a generally fine fellow. He was not a member of the back table, but when we started bringing in a lot of people, he would show up at those service projects and talk to them and tell them that they're going to have that Rotary moment just like he did. And it was, by the end of the project, they're all kind of sitting around him, listening to him tell the tales. So I think that's one of the ways that we can spur the culture is ask them to help us turn these raw, um, brand new Rotarians into true Rotarians. I think that's one of the ways that you can change that culture pretty quick.
What do you think's a quick win for a new member? They come in that you'd recommend to anyone. We have a new member comes in, and you get a chance to sit and visit with them for a minute, and you say, "Hey, what if you really want to get engaged? If you want to be part of this, get in the game? What would be a quick win for them? What should they do? What's your suggestion?"
I would say go to a couple committee meetings right away, which is
Nice.
on your form of things you're supposed to do, and go to a board meeting right away. I don't know if you know, I'm not a shrinking violet, and my first board meeting was on my second week involved with the club, and I thought, oh, this is exciting. I can help out here. You know what I mean? So I would
Yeah.
say get into it as quickly as you can, because that's when you're most in love. Do you know what I mean? The point
Yeah.
in sales, the point of sale is the magical moment in a relationship. And if you have them at the point of sale and drag it out for 8 weeks, it's not going to be as magical.
No.
So
Yeah, getting into those
immediate engagement.
yeah, I agree. I'll piggyback on that. Getting into those committee meetings, I think, is really pivotal. And I think more than two, encourage them to go to all of them. Take a bite at all the apples and see which one you like the most, and you could really get excited about and get behind. You know, exposure to all of those things, I think, is that's what I would say.
If they're going to give you space, occupy it. You know what I mean? Don't wait to be asked, because you might be in a club that might not be good at asking,
Right.
as evidence of some of the membership trends that we're seeing. But they have committees, they have board meetings, they have this. If you see the space, occupy it. If you see something that you want to do, don't wait to be asked, occupy that space and offer the help. That's always been kind of my mantra in pretty much everything that I do. And it was no different when I got into Rotary. I went, well, I was exposed to a couple things and I said, I can help here. So I inserted myself there, and that's it. Don't be shy. Everybody that comes into Rotary, the reason why they join is because they're feeling something missing. We can all go do service somewhere else. We can all do this somewhere else, but we all want to be part of something that's bigger than us.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get in there, expose yourself to all of those things and know that you can help, and you just have to occupy that space.
I like where you're going with that, and I think it's a good thing for the clubs to recognize if you're a
Yeah.
club member, to go ahead and invite, like you said, invite these new members into a committee, and not just to sit there quietly. Invite them to engage and let them have a voice. I think we've all been in a meeting or something where maybe we felt like our voice, or we weren't ready to give the voice because maybe we felt stifled. Uh, Not everyone has the power, like maybe the two of you. I've been in a meeting with the two of you, and I know that you both have no problem speaking up. But letting it be known that it doesn't matter if you just started with Rotary this week or if you've been around for 30 years, that your voice matters, and we shouldn't shut you down. And the committee members that have been there for a long time, uh, if we could encourage clubs to realize that these new members have new voices, and wow, what can we hear? I mean, I'm just going to give a shout out. I know the two of you have been very involved with membership committee in your
Mhm.
club, and you've actually made some changes recently in a form of bringing in new members using a corporate model.
Right.
You want to
Nice.
talk a little bit about that corporate model? Tell us how that's a little bit about how that works.
Well, I think corporate memberships for every organization, especially organizations, are important, right? They're beneficial because you can bring in more than one person at a time, but the costs aren't necessarily double or triple. With a corporate membership, if I'm the primary member in a corporate membership for, say, Sherwood Austin Mortgage, if I can't be there,
You had to
I
sneak that in,
can
didn't you?
I saw that. Good
send,
one.
right?
Wow.
I can send an employee. Or if Sherwood Austin Homes has a corporate membership and I can't make it, or she can't make it, she can send an employee. That's exciting. And here's why that's exciting. It's exciting for a business owner because it exposes the business to more people. More
Yeah.
faces from the business equals more exposure. Here's why it's awesome, though. It exposes the club to more faces as well. And
Yeah.
more faces come into the club, the more opportunity to grow the club there is. So to me, corporate memberships are a no-brainer. And in
Yeah.
our club, the Columbia Center Rotary Club, it's the same price as an individual membership. Let me
Yeah.
tell you something crazy. I fought for higher price. No, Todd said no. We're going with the same price.
I love it. No, that's David. That is a excellent idea. And we piggybacked off of that, the North American Club Creation Team. We pitched, there's a lot of areas where terminology is the key to a lot of sales, a lot of recruitment, a lot of stuff like this. And there's a lot of areas where corporate, the word people instantly go to large corporations when it, you know, the majority of the time it's not. So we designed a program that had like Main Street membership or hometown membership. There's a gentleman named Peter out in Virginia that kind of kicked that off. Really, really good things, and that really helps a lot of the smaller, more rural Rotary clubs that can go to their Main Street and say, "Hey, man, I know our meeting's at 12." And you're going to get caught. You're going to get locked. That somebody's going to pull up at the inopportune time, just when you're leaving for the Rotary meeting. These are the things that you can do. Here's a plaque to put on the wall. I support our community by doing service through the Rotary Club of blank. You know, so there's a lot of things that you can do that in your area. Either run a corporate membership in places that where that would take hold, or do basically the same thing and do a more small business type hometown or member or Main Street membership type thing. So we have information on that if anybody's out there and needs that, and you know we'll use you guys as a resource a lot on the corporate membership. But hey, Todd, I wanted to tell you we do have some comments on the thing, and we got a shout out to our good friend and team member who's on here, our district governor friend from Alaska, the only place colder than you guys up there in Washington. DG 5010, Marty Mativa, when we were talking about,
Hey, Marty.
Marty's doing great out there. But one of the things that he put out there on the comment is vocational speeches and stuff like that. You know, kind of getting to know, giving the people the opportunity. They used to call these things when I first got into Rotary, and this is going to tell you how old I am. They used to do these red badge, blue badge programs. They used to do these things called baby Rotarian speeches. Okay, baby Rotarian. So when they felt that you were not such a baby Rotarian anymore, they gave you an opportunity to stand up in front of the crowd and kind of talk about your vocation and talk about you and that sort of thing and kind of get to know me. Now, again, like I said, language matters, and we definitely would not call those this day, but vocational services, vocational speeches like that, like Marty's suggesting, is a great way to allow our newer members to kind of highlight their desire, what brought them into Rotary. And I believe in that wholeheartedly because you never know what they're going to say that's going to cause you to turn your head if you're in Rotary. They might say their passion is this and they volunteer here and you go, I had no idea that we had that need in this community. I need to know more about that. So you never know. So I think you know, going back to what we were talking about, making sure that the newer Rotarians have their voice by doing planned introductions, planned vocational speeches, you know, that sort of thing to the club to let them introduce themselves. I think that is a wonderful way to do it. And then also, um, you know, you guys, um, we have these wonderful people in our clubs that need and want and crave a leadership track, you know, a real world education. I could sit down and listen to Todd talk to me about his DIY YouTube channels and the whole 9 yards, and just sit there and listen to. He can build a cabin with one hand in the dark with no nails, you know, just on a piece of paper.
It was dark.
You know, the whole deal. And, you know, but, you know, having the ability to sit there and listen to somebody go, wow, you know, you know, give that leadership, give that, those talks, maybe off membership time, or excuse me, off club time, once every couple of months. Financial things that you could be looking out for. These are the trends that we're seeing in the home market. These are the things that we're doing here. All of those things that we have to go all these places to try to hunt down and find, we have in our Rotary clubs. And we should use our members as resources for education to the rest of the members. You know, we had a police officer in our club, the police chief actually, and he did a talk off hours on how to keep safe. in several different situations and stuff like this. And I still remember, um, most everything that he said because, it was planned, and it was beneficial, and we learned something on that. So I think that Marty gave a great comment there. It can help everybody.
So let's say we build a big billboard, giant billboard goes out in town, and you're in charge of putting on the billboard something that says, "Hey, this is about Rotary," that would entice someone to join or that entice someone to at least check it out. Go. What's your words?
But we're definitely
Oh,
not putting a picture of me or you on it. Just saying.
What do you got in mind?
I've got good words, but I need time. David knows if I got to come up with words, I need time to write and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite. So I'm not the spur of the moment person. I can come up with a winning pitch, but I'm going to need a few minutes. You know what I mean?
Okay. David's
Yeah.
got something off the hip. I know that.
He does always.
Well, yeah, but my question is, Todd, what would you put on your billboard?
A picture of me and Patrick.
Yeah.
Well, no, let
know,
me ask you a question. What's your first word that comes to your mind when you think about Rotary?
fun.
Fun. Todd?
Networking and fun.
Okay, networking. Londa, first word.
Connection.
Connection. And mine would be integrity. If
Okay.
you think about those four words, I'd have the Rotary logo and I would put connection, networking, integrity, and fun.
And there's also another four words. If we think about the Rotary vision and there's a
Yes.
whole series of it's just a sentence. I'll even say it. Together, we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities, and in ourselves, which I love that.
Did you cheat on that?
Nope, I got that up here.
You
There
got that
are,
up there?
if you have a hard time memorizing that, there's four words in there. Together, people create change. And remind you, the second word's people, not Rotarians. In Rotary, we work with all people, with other communities and such. So that's together, people create change. Maybe that's your four words on the board, and then ask us how, something like that. So,
I love it.
well, anyway, that's that pitch. What do you think about that? And no, I didn't cheat. That was off the
I
cuff
think we
there.
should write this up and send this to Rotary
So,
PI up there in Evanston and tell them we're going to go ahead and take care of their public image in North America here.
Any final thoughts from Londa and David
Yep.
with the
Yeah.
session?
Yeah, I have some. David kept using the word expose, expose, and it reminded me of a old sales technique: expose, involve, and upgrade. And that's kind of the process you take people through when you're selling any product. And, I think it fits here too. Expose people to Rotary so they can make the decision if it is for them or not. You asked earlier, do you kind of pre-qualify people? No, who am I to do that? You never know what people are looking for and what kind of connection they are looking to make. And maybe it's to get involved with a committee and serve, but maybe it's, I'm going to circle back to myself. One of my selfish reasons for being there, I lost my mom 15 years ago, and I haven't had really a mom figure in my life since then. So I selfishly love coming to Rotary every week because I see some women who, are close to the age that she would be today. And that alone is very heartwarming to me and very comforting, and it makes me feel connected. So you just never know what people are looking for. But I had the opportunity to be exposed to that. And then I got involved in some committee, and, maybe I'll upgrade to leadership someday, So that's what I would leave you with.
Expose, involve, upgrade. Wow,
That
you're impressive.
That's fabulous. I don't think we can top that. Thank you both for being here, Londa and David, and for sharing a little bit about your Rotary journey so far. We've got some pretty neat stuff coming up next week. On Membership Unplugged on Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Next week, we're going to be talking. Patrick is going to be introducing us to the companion ladder. What if we could tell you that if you're experiencing attrition in your club, if you're experiencing a loss of members, particularly as the end of the year or the end of the Rotary year, when people are maybe just not showing up, or they're exiting, or they change jobs, or for whatever reason, it's just not working for them at that current time of your meeting. What if we could show you a way where you can still retain those people into the future and help them continue on as Rotarians? Well, that's exactly what's going to happen next week. The companion ladder. Show up here, be here for Membership Unplugged. We'll sell you the whole ticket, but the whole seat, but you're only going to need the edge. That's what they say. So that's coming up next week. Londa, David, check it out. The session, it's dropped on Wednesdays. That's the famous podcast.
The session with Londa and David. Check it out.
We'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.